Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon. Welcome to VTP Stage 2 Online Technical Tuesday Coaching Call 186 for 24th of March 2026. Hope you're all well. Hope you're enjoying this volatility in the markets. If not trading it, at least just watching, seeing how markets are swinging left, right, and centre based on what's going on in the world at the moment. As always, you're very welcome here. Just remember that you are responsible for your own trading decisions. For those of you who want on stage two, want to move on to stage three, there is a special offer there until the 1st of April, the last few sort of days of March in Q1. Okay, if you want to get a special offer for access to stage two, the next stage of about intraday trading, well, you can do that. It's reduced to £99 until 1st of April, and you can do that using that QR code or the Bitly code, or just ping me if you want to have a chat about it. Let's finish off with sterling as always. Okay, so cable, euro sterling, pound Aussie, pound CAD, pound yen, pound Swiss, pound Kiwi, FTSE. Not terribly easy, all right, on a swing basis sterling at the moment because of the shenanigans that are going on. But let's have a little look into it. Okay, cable. Well, we were in that channel. And the channel worked its way down nicely. But if you look at that, if you look at March, really, basically, let's bring up the old. If you look at March, we have been underneath that 200 period moving average, and fantastic. If you're an intraday trader, sort of trading mean reversion, beautiful month, fantastic for that. If you're trying to trade swings, not so much. Okay, not so much. And that's not a shock. We're in a major war, probably the biggest one we've seen for a long, long time now. So, but if I go down to the 4 hour chart, yeah, over these kind of last few weeks, look at that. A couple of 4 hour swings have been nice there, but a lot of that has been brought on by volatility or commentary, etc. It's just, for me, I still see as in a kind of 34.50 to 32.50. I would look at that as kind of the edges of our range, all right. And if it wants to stay in there, well, that's fine. I can work that. But I don't see any particular clear trend on that. Pound against Japanese yen. I still go on about how I think this is like showing up as a diamond. I appreciate my drawing isn't particularly great there. Okay, it's not the best. That's the worst diamond you've ever seen. You wouldn't be buying that in a store. But it's that broadening formation, all right? That broadening formation which we then basically pushed our way through, and now we've worked our way back up. And that's a case of Sterling in the end have not been terribly happy neighbours. Both of them affected by the by war in Iran. And what I mean by that is, well, Japan imports 95% of its oil. The UK has not job Miliband and its delusional net zero nonsense, which is causing us all sorts of issues. And so, when we see oil price spiking, it is literally a case of it affects both of them, right? It's hurting both of them, and that's what we were kind of seeing there. And as I said, if you look at that 4 hour chart there for these last couple of weeks, it's yeah, a couple of nice swings, but also just look at that for the last few days. That's just messy. All right, intraday, trading those volatility spikes, yeah, good, but if you're trying to trade swings on that, not easy at all. Same goes for kind of pound against Swiss franc. All right, we were in, this is a daily chart. We were in a nice downtrend, and you've heard me say it before. You'd have thought that we'd have continued on with that, that there would have been that need for Swiss franc. But as I've said before, the S&B have openly said that they have been intervening in markets during the war to basically weaken the Swiss franc. And if you look at that, right, that seems to have worked okay there. The way that's worked there. I was intrigued because the lows of 2025, that's what we came down and flushed, right? We came down and flushed, and then basically have worked our way back up from there on pound against Swiss franc. Pound against Aussie, as we said, this is the daily chart. Look at it. It was a messy start, but actually you can see that that's that Aussie weakness that I wouldn't exactly say that's necessarily sterling strength. I'd say that's Aussie weakness that's flowing its way through there. Pound against New Zealand dollar. This is kind of nice. I like this. What I like about it is that, really, effectively what we saw was kind of a double bottom there. You've got, an engulfing candle there, then you've got kind of pin bars there, then you've got effectively PO20 going on there. Bang. There you are. And you've got PO20 going on there. Up to the 200 was a trade, and now we're kind of trying to see if we can get above it. you know, is that is that a reflection of just continued Kiwi weakness? Perhaps is that a reflection of sterling strength? It's like a fake strength. It's not strength based off good economics. It's strength off base that the gilt yields are higher than they'd like, which means that they're unlikely to be cutting interest rates, and so sterling has kind of benefit from that in this particular instance. Pound against Canadian dollar, and that's kind of interesting as well, as that we had seen, if you look at that from end of February, we'd been in a great downtrend, and it flushed down low, and you'd have probably expected that, right? Canadian strength, all right, from the oil, but once again, it's kind of look at that. There's a bit of a double bottom there, isn't there? Double bottom that's working its way. I mean, it's madness at the moment, but if it gets above the 50 and the 200, that's quite some move. But once again, not necessarily an easy, not necessarily easy to sort of to trade as a swing. But you can see there on the 4-hour chart, that it's like the volatility is increasing. It's just yeah, flinging itself all over the place. And let's finish with euro sterling. I mean, euro sterling's not. You know, 2026 has not been a particularly great year for trading euro sterling. If you're trying to trade some nice swings, all right, some nice swings, it's not necessarily been great for that. If we look at that on the daily chart, and the only one really saw was the start of February, where we came to the bottom of this channel once again, bullish engulfing, bullish key reversal. Remember, that's what I want to see at the end of a downtrend and work its way up. But gosh almighty, it grinds. And interestingly, I put this out I think last week, is that we were just coiling up there. Look at how we were coiling up. That was the central bankers week, and look at how it's just kind of messed people around there. It's just literally taken both sides of the market there, hasn't it? It's just flushing out everybody. And if you were trying to trade that as a swing over the last couple of days, you wouldn't have got much joy out of that. So euro sterling's not terribly easy in that sense at the moment. Okay, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Let's draw that to a close there, shall we? Okay, now a little bit, but there is an awful lot going on in the world at the moment. I hope you found that useful. I hope that gives you a little bit of help and insight. Listen, as I've been saying, for the last, all year really. Make sure you're on top of your risk management. Make sure that you're on top of the news flow. Make sure you're on top of the order flow. Okay, make sure that you're just on top of your game. All right. Don't be surprised if we get more volatility swings this week as everything starts to play out. But have yourself a great trading week. Trade well, everybody, and I'll look forward to speaking to you soon. Take care, everybody. Cheers.